The Rockies magazine where he's sitting on my lap. Yeah, that would be funny.
Matt, you mentioned that a couple of years ago you thought about this, and if you had held out your career a little longer, you guys could share this space at the same time. Now that you're sitting here, does that feeling come back even a little more?
Yeah, I wish he'd have told me he was going to be up so fast. I think I could have maybe, I saw, oh gosh, what's his name? The guy with the Red Sox is back.
Rich Hill.
Rich Hill's back. Rich Hill's my age, so like if he could do it, I don't know why I couldn't. But, I watched the Dodgers bullpen throw, and I think I'm probably not gonna come back. So it would be cool. It would have been amazing, obviously, but 6 years, so it's probably too big a gap at this point.
How would you compare, watching your son on the field and going through his first time as a major leaguer compared to your own experiences? I mean, what's it like watching as a parent as opposed to doing it yourself?
I think it's obviously harder because they have absolutely no control about what happens. I think at least as a player, you're controlling the outcome to some extent. So it's hard. It's hard because I want him to do well, because I know how bad he wants to do well. So it's a little more taxing. Makes my gut probably a little more nervous than when I played. But it's fun to watch too. I love watching baseball. So. I love watching him play. I know how much he loves it, so that makes it easy. But yeah, it's much different than playing yourself.
Hey Matt, do you think that Jackson's love and Ethan's love too for the game, not just your career, but the fact that you brought them into the environment of the clubhouses and the field, do you think that's part of the reason why they grew up to love the game like you love the game?
I can't imagine that it didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the only reason, but I assume that the fact that they were with me and on the fields and around great players and got a chance to see behind the curtain of a lot of things and got a chance to see this and so that I think that it made that dream, I think, more tangible or maybe more realistic. And I do know that they grew up loving to be here, and so obviously when you love to practice, you have a much better chance, and you love being around the game and you like to talk the game. It gives you a chance to get all the God-given ability you have out, and so I think it definitely had something to do with it.
Now, with each at what point in time did you realize their talent was truly unique?
Pretty early, just because you watch their actions and you watch them do things and their swing mechanics that they sort of have naturally and don't know why, and just kind of are imitating probably what's going on in front of them. I knew that they had some pretty unique skill sets. So you never know what that means. So I just want to, as a parent, you just kind of want to fan that flame of, if you love baseball, here's what you got to do if you want to try to play at the next level, and then at the next level after that. And so I know for quite a while that they had the ability to play at a high level. Now, I didn't know Jackson would play in the major league at 20 years old, but I knew that he had some skills and the love of game it would take.
Out of all the images of you and Jackson we'll likely show on our Rockies broadcast tonight, is there one that's your favorite?
I think the video that sort of resurfaced where he was hitting and running around on the field, that one's pretty vivid. Obviously the one you mentioned earlier about after we won the National League on the stage, holding him. And then, I think even on into my career a little bit, just having them travel with me and having them around, and having them in the cage and shagging batting practice, all of those things were very special to me.
Matt, between you and Jackson, at his age, who do you think had more pop when you were his age?
I had more raw power, but he has a way better swing than I did at 20. So I would say I probably had more raw power than he did. I could probably hit it further than he can, but he's way more advanced than I was at 20.
Same question with Ethan now.
Now that's a different story. Ethan's hitting the ball in the 110, 112 range with a wood bat at 17 years old. So he might have me on raw power. I don't know. We'll see. He's got to hit a few more home runs before I relinquish that.
How much is Jackson going to for advice, particularly now that he's in the majors and now that he's playing here in Colorado?
We talk about baseball a lot. We talk about what's going on. I try to let him initiate the conversation when it comes to like mechanical stuff or like approach stuff. I don't want to be over the top with trying to give him too much information. I know how hard the game is. I never want to forget how hard baseball is, and particularly nowadays. So we talk about baseball a lot, but like I said, it's a good balance. I don't want him to ever think that that all I care about is how well he's doing on the field, because that's not true.
When did you realize that he could be such a dynamic fielder, especially?
He's always loved fielding. Like even when he was 12, 13, 14, he always told me he wanted to win a Gold Glove. Like that was something he always talked about. He loved to practice fielding, and he's always loved to play infield. So I've known for a while that he would be a good defender. And he's really athletic and can do all the things, throw from different angles. So he's always had a pretty good time fielding balls and making plays.
Back when he was running around here in the clubhouse, did you ever have in your mind's eye, even back then, that he'd be playing on this field?
I don't know. I don't think I ever thought that far ahead of it. I think probably more in 18 when I came back, and he was 14 at the time. That was probably something you think more about, like in a few years, he could be playing here. I don't think back when he was my first time through here, I probably ever thought about that. But it's obviously really cool to see him on the field here.
His rookie season didn't get off the start that he wanted, but how do you feel like he's handled everything this year? Option, a little bit of an injury, coming back up, and experienced all the highs and lows this year.
Yeah, he's a really mature kid. For 20 years old, he's handled it really, really well. He's very even keel. He doesn't get too high or get too low. He's very mature. He handles failure and success really well. And so I've been really proud of how he's handled it, but not really surprised, because that's who he is and who he's always been. He's classic firstborn, very responsible. He's a better parent to the younger kids than me. He's always like, "Hey, where's Reed?" I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "It's his dad. You think you should know where Reed is? I'll go find him." So he's a very he's been an adult for a while, and so he's handled it like an adult this year.
How surreal has it been to see Jackson facing and sharing clubhouse with guys like Matt Bowman, who you faced and shared a clubhouse with back then?
Yeah, I think Bowman's the first major league teammate he's had that we shared. So he either feels really old, or I just think it's cool, like and he had a couple, I think 1 or 2 in the minor leagues. Garrett Cooper, who I played with in New York. They were teammates at AAA, but I think Matt Bowman's probably the first one. But yeah, playing against pitchers and guys that I faced, that's pretty crazy.
You offered any scouting reports on those guys?
There was somebody the other day that Sean Manaea with the Mets. I was like, "Are you ready? His fastball sneaky." I think he struck me out a few times.
You mentioned his maturity, but when he was 17, you guys were having discussions with him about family planning, being a leader in his own home. Do you take any pride looking back? You guys have prepared him for this kind of adulthood for a while. I'm really proud of him, who he is as a person, as a kid, and I feel like we've done a good job of preparing him for this lifestyle. Obviously, having been part of it for a long time, we have a leg up on most parents on what this is going to be like. So I think we've done a good job. But he's a great kid. I mean, he's taken it all in, and he's handled it really well. So I'm not much on tooting my own horn on parenting. He's still alive. Like I tell people all the time, the kids are still all alive. So I feel like we're doing all right. But there's days where you wouldn't want any of with the way they would behave. I wouldn't want anybody to think that I had parenting figured out. But I'm proud of him so far. So he's done great.
When people remember him really fondly from when he was around the clubhouse and as 2 or 3 years old, I guess. What did that mean at that time for you to be able to have him there and to be in the clubhouse on the job with you? I mean, I guess those were always after wins. I'm not 100% sure, but
yeah, they were allowed. I mean, obviously, the more time passes, if you lose, they can come in later. Yeah. But yeah, I mean. It was very critical that they got to come in and I got to be around them for being a dad, and it probably allowed me, the fact that my wife was so flexible in traveling and teams that I played with were so flexible and letting me be around my kids. I probably played 2 or 3 years longer than maybe I would have had I run into some teams where I couldn't be around my kids, just because, you know, being a husband and a father was that important to me that I wanted to be around my family, and having teams that would allow that was very beneficial and helped me, I think, play longer.
Maybe by the time you think gets drafted, any thoughts on Matt Holliday joining an organization, coaching, managing, any of that stuff?
The problem with that is just how much time it takes, and just I tell people I don't know if there's ever going to be a time where I don't want to have the freedom to go around and travel and watch my kids do their activities. And when you sign on for full-time major league coaching or managing, as you guys know, it's a lot of hours and it's a lot of missed things with my kids. And so, you know, as I sit here today, I can't imagine that that's something that's around the corner, just because, like I said, I love the freedom to come in Colorado and watch Jackson play today. And if I want to go to New York next week, or when they go to New York, or if I want to go to the playoffs, and, you know, if I was coaching or managing somewhere, I wouldn't have those kind of freedoms. So I really appreciate the opportunity to go and watch my kids do what they love.
Hey Matt, if you could pick out like one stark personality difference between Ethan and Jackson, what would it be?
I would say Ethan wears his emotions on his sleeve, and Jackson, you have no idea. If he's 0 for 4 or 4 for 4, Ethan, you know exactly how things are going. So they're just, you know, they're just different in how they respond to things. So that's probably their biggest difference.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.